All right, everyone, we have the ultimate hyperbole article here that we have to read a little bit. This comes from The Guardian, so it's probably not a huge surprise. From CBS to TikTok, U.S. media are falling to Trump's allies. This is how democracy crumbles. This is a long polemic. I wouldn't even bother reading the entire article. Link in the description, archived, of course, if you really want to. And it's about how the media is cowing to Donald Trump, supposedly. Look at the actual headlines within the legacy media. Everything other than Fox. Fox pretends. CNN, MSNBC, The Guardian, Fox, Salon, Legacy Media, and Missing Link Media. It is almost overwhelmingly anti-Trump at all times. It's almost overwhelmingly anti-MAGA at all times. It's almost overwhelmingly against the right to bear arms, the right to free expression, and things like that. The irony of this article is that in expressing an interest in press freedom, they're actually arguing for censorship. This has been a thing. This has been a theme for some time now. The legacy media pretends, on one hand, that Donald Trump is trying to censor them. Well, he can't. There's no way to muzzle you. You can say whatever the fuck you want as long as it's not defamatory or something like that or terroristic. You can say exactly what you want. On the other hand, at the same time, the legacy media got complacent under the Biden administration because the Biden administration said basically, if you say what we want you to say, then, you won't get hurt, basically. It was a mafioso administration, an asterisk. It's literally nothing more than an asterisk in U.S. history, by the way, and will always be remembered as such. The Biden administration came to the legacy media and utilized them as a cudgel, basically. And the state was controlling the narrative, more or less. The Trump administration is more laissez-faire and like, yeah, well, fuck them, basically. Ignoring them. And they're pissed because they're not getting their exclusives. They're not getting their sit-down interviews the way that they were under, Crazy Joe. They're not getting the same sort of treatment they got before. Trump is more like, basically, give it to the dog, so to speak. So independent content, like the stuff that I create, many of you create, that is now no longer unfavored. Effectively, the legacy media was trying to snuff us out, but they failed. They failed in a spectacular fashion. You'll remember the cyber wars, so to speak, of the 2016 election. The legacy media was constantly defaming content creators who were actually independent, trying to drive us off the internet, to destroy our careers, and things like that. The Trump administration is not similarly inclined. Well, this is a big, big problem to the legacy media because they were dying anyway. That was their last gasp, basically. They were trying to snuff us out, and they fucking failed. The Trump administration is not interested in making us fail. Well, that's an improvement, I would say, as again, an independent content creator dressing like a fucking pirate. I like the idea that the current administration does not discriminate against me due to my piracy. I can go down to the Caribbean, by the way. Donald, you just give me an armored trawler with a couple of deck guns, and we'll take care of some business with those fucking cartel members. Semi-joking, by the way. The legacy media is complaining because they're being called out for their unfairness, for their constant differential coverage, for their constant defamation, for their obvious propaganda. And then they get a big dick about it and then they complain as well. Well, the legacy media is a cancer, basically. You're just lying to people anyway. I mean, CNN, what does it do? I mean, most of the lineup is basically the lie show. Same with MSNBC and a few of the others. And when you go to the missing link media, when you go to, well, Rolling Stone doesn't actually do like rock and roll anymore. It's all political commentary. That's the only thing that they're known for. Vox, Salon, Huffington Post. I'm surprised that some of these places even still exist. I don't know how you even pay the overhead considering your inflated cost of actually producing your shitty content. And that's really what it is. It's a pile of horse shit. It's bullshit. I mean, there's nothing of value that's actually there. You're not getting anything more than you'll get from some random YouTuber or TikToker or something like that. And it'll be more intelligent than what you're getting from the missing link media. With the legacy media, it's more, hey, you produce a newspaper. People buy your newspaper in order to shred it up and use it as bedding for their parrots, so that when their parrots shit, it's easier to clean up. That's basically the only use that you have anymore. Television. What's a TV for these days? You hatch into the internet and then you play whatever you're playing on the television screen, like I'm currently doing actually right now, technically. But it's not legacy media content. Nobody gives a shit about you anymore. The legacy media is dying, and so they're lashing out. I love some of this article. Trump officials are briefing. They're also in favor of Paramount Skydance buying Warner Brothers Discovery, the parent company of HBO and CNN. Yes, apparently Trump is taking over CNN. No, this is a claim that's actually in the article. Who owns Warner Brothers Discovery is very important to the administration, a senior Trump official told the conservative New York Post. The pro-Trump newspaper states that rival bidders will face regulatory hurdles, with WBD's CEO forced to consider the Trump administration's willingness to crack down on what sees as rampant left-wing bias across the mainstream media. This is true, though. We've been seeing this for years. You do have rampant left-wing media bias. I mean, it's fairly clear. When you're using the Data Society, for example, as your source of data, you have already lost all credibility. Now, Missing Link Media doesn't have this problem because those are independent sites. They may be dying off, but they are technically independent. Beyond that, though, if the legacy media wants to broadcast on television and stuff like that, there are already rules in place for them to be non-biased. But you have an enormous amount of bias. Technically, you're already breaking the rules. It's really, really funny, actually. We don't have that problem. As independent content creators, we can say whatever the fuck we want to say. I can say shit yourself, and nobody can do anything about it. If you put that on TV, though, all of a sudden you run afoul of some obscenity rule. I'm actually pleased that the legacy media is dying. Very, very pleased. They should be completely replaced. There's no reason for them to exist anymore. Nobody fucking reads newspapers. Nobody watches fucking actual cable TV anymore. Nobody cares about this stuff. They're all using, if they're watching the TV, it's either they're using on demand or they're tuning into YouTube or something like that. I'm not watching CNN. Nobody cares about you. You're completely useless, talentless. You are a remnant of a former age. Good riddance. Fuck you. That's about all. Peace out.